the fear was creating paralysis around me taking actions. And so that's why I felt like I had so much more to give, but I wasn't taking the action that I needed to do. Like, it's almost like I knew what to do, but I wasn't doing it.
Today I'm joined by Louis Papot, and Louis is a client of mine who's been working with me for 9 months. He's also a fantastic coach in the physical realm, and in this episode we discuss the main lessons that he's learned to take him forward in his mindset, especially diving into values and how to apply that for yourself. There's a wealth of knowledge in here if you listen into how Louis has transferred his life. And if you are the type of person who wants to maximize your mindset, this episode is for you. So, man, in the weirdest way ever, welcome to this conversation you've already been a part of. Let's start where we just kicked off, or where we were just talking about like the time around your 29th birthday and what was happening in your life.
Yeah, I guess, so last December, approaching my 29th birthday, I wasn't happy with, I guess, my year 2022, but more so the last few months. And yeah, I decided to do something about it in regards to my mindset, in regards to how I was approaching life and how I was reacting to things. And the underlying feeling was untapped potential. I felt like I had so much more to give, but I wasn't able to express it for so many reasons. Some of them were fear related. Some of them were just feeling of, not being good enough or like confident enough. So yeah, that was kind of the underlying driver behind me reaching out to you.
Sweet. Were there, like, what was going on both in terms of like real world situations that you wanted to change? So for example, around coaching and like what your life actually looked like, and what was going on in terms of the kind of mental emotional state that you're facing at the same time, so like the outer world and the inner world?
Yeah, so I guess on paper and from an outside point of view, like, things were going very well. I'm a freelance personal trainer in London, running a successful business, quite established in North London. So on paper, if you would look at my life, everything was going well. It's just that I wasn't happy with how things were going within me, and I guess the feeling of like just leaving stuff on the table, untapped potential, frustration around what I could be, the lack of direction as well that I was experiencing. So yeah, that was essentially the main one. And what was the last part of the question again?
Got you. No, so there's like the inner world and the outer world. So sounds like you had that frustration and kind of like gone. You've had to. I won't interrupt you too much.
There was quite a lot of. I think there was quite a lot of realization around what has led me to where I am today will not lead me to where I want to go, in regards to like acting out of fear, fear of missing out, that was an issue. That was a big driver for me, to have something to prove to others. And yes, that was quite a big driver, and that has helped me a lot to get where I am today, but it wasn't going to help me further down the line.
Got you. Was that kind of, I can't remember, it's been what, 9 months since we were working? No.
Yeah, we're going towards the end of the eighth month.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Wow, already. It's crazy how quickly it goes. So I can't remember exactly at the time, or I can't remember back to starting. Was it this feeling of like hitting against a glass ceiling, or was it this kind of like, I just don't know whether there's anything more I can give, like, or was it more of a sense of like, what do I do to level up from here?
Yeah, I think there was. So when I reached out, there was for sure some kind of burnout a little bit. I was spread quite thin in everything I was doing. So I think you helped me kind of like manage my sympathetic system quite a lot. I remember like we worked a lot on it at the beginning to kind of downregulate my my sympathetic system and go towards the parasympathetic drive. So feeling of burnout, and then just feeling of untapped potential, leaving so much on the table. Like I could give so much more, and I wasn't able to do it. That was a big one for me.
Got you. And we'd obviously touched base a little bit before, quite a few years before, and we had like some time where we didn't really chat. Did you try anything in between that time in terms of mindset that worked or didn't work, or only worked up to a point?
Yeah, I think so. The main one was going to like self-development book, like just reading books and trying to almost like self-medicate myself. And then 6 months prior to working with you, I did work with another mindset coach, and I just it didn't feel right. I wasn't able to express myself. I wasn't able to, there was no like authenticity, I feel like. So yeah, something that I was able to express with you and I wasn't able to do with the other mindset coach.
Got you. I think it's important to kind of touch on the fact as well, like you've been through, I'm guessing, well, I know for a fact, you've been through a ton of transformation and growth already. What, like, you've moved country, you've come from a high level of sports background. Like, what have you, or how have you grown already? How's that, like, or if you take us through actually, this is a way better question. I'll start that question again. Take us through like the original path to get you from growing up. Where did you grow up in France?
Toulouse. I grew up in Toulouse.
From Toulouse to London.
Yeah, so that's a long story. I mean, just to make it short, 19-year-old moved to Australia to study at university. Studied there for 18 months, and at the time, my English was really poor. So, you know, as a typical French guy, like wasn't really good at English. So I did like 6 months of English course, and then got into uni and was able to study at uni. And that was kind of like the first life-changing experience, because that has opened so many doors. You know, basically from a 19-year-old guy playing rugby in the south of France to now speaking English, being able to connect with everyone in the world. So that was quite a big one. And then I went back home, finished my master degree in business administration, which wasn't related at all with personal training. But at the time I was still like very active, playing rugby, semi-professional, plus, training in the gym 3-4 times a week. So, quite active and quite into fitness. And then at the end of the master degree, I just realized that, I didn't want to do that degree, and I wanted to become a personal trainer. So I decided to transition towards that. So that was another transformation. And then once I got that degree, decided to move to Singapore because some of my family members are based over there, and I knew that personal training was quite big over there, and I could express myself, and I guess the earning potential was a lot more attractive to me than staying in France. So that's what I did, and then started traveling around East Asia, Southeast Asia. And that's when I came across Ollie and Jens on the SCA mentorship at the time. Decided to move my life to London, took on a job as a personal trainer in London. Stayed there for like 9 months, and then COVID hit. So COVID hit. I'm meant to go to Hong Kong to take on another job as a personal trainer, and then I'm stuck back home for like 5 months. So a bit of a short story long. Jens offered me an opportunity to come and work alongside him, which I took and decided to go basically freelance personal trainer in London. I had 3K on my bank account and just decided to take the leap. And here I am.
What made you take that leap?
So I guess I've always valued being independent.
Mm-hmm. I we've spoken out quite a bit.
Exactly. I guess, yeah, I've never really dealt very well with authority. And we've uncovered why. But yeah, so that was one of the driver. Second driver was the opportunity to work alongside someone like Jens, who I value a lot, the knowledge and expertise and the person he is. So that was another big driver, and the ability to, earning potential were a lot bigger as well in London if you're established. So yeah, there was a third one as well. So I guess the earning potential leads to freedom, which is another one of my values.
Nice. Yeah. Let's touch on those values quickly. What has working on your values, what's working on your values done for you? And to provide some context, we've spent, I'd say probably the last 4 months now, we've been touching on values, reworking values, kind of diving into them a little bit here and there. And now you seem to have some really kind of fleshed out specifics that you can focus on that translate to action. What has working on your values done for you?
I think it wasn't that I was misaligned, but it's like I had so many opportunities or like I was struggling to choose a direction and choose which way to go. And these are good problems to have, but at the same time, it was really like that lack of direction that was creating some paralysis around, what if I'm wrong, which step to take next. So having this values system in place has actually made and created a lot more clarity around, just, okay, these are my values and these are my actions that I'm going to take based on my values.
Yeah. It's interesting because you came such a long way using kind of the urgent style of I've got to get here, or more accurately, I've got to get away from this thing. I'm kind of like this hustle pushing mode where you just can force. And then you get to this plateau. And when you get to that plateau, then you have to be a little bit more conscious about the decisions you're making. It sounds like the values you've had have been able to go, but this is the direction that is A, likely to succeed, but B, inherently valuable just in the journey as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think that exactly. I was operating at quite a high level without even being aware of it. So part of the work that we've done as well is being able to take acknowledgement of what I'm doing well already, because I'm very hard on myself and I wasn't giving myself the credit and that I deserved. So it's almost like, okay, acknowledging what you're doing very well already and that I'm operating at a high level. And then being a bit more grateful for what I have as well. I do feel like, and it does rear the ugly head from time to time again, but the grass is greener somewhere mentality was what led me to kind of all these experiences that I've just described, like going from country to country and moving across the globe and, experiencing different things. But at the same time, it's not something you can build on in the long run. Or like you cannot build something meaningful in the long run. So it's almost like it has served me, but it won't serve me much now in the future, and that had to change.
Hello there. If you are a high performer, an entrepreneur, a founder, or someone in a business that has a high degree of impact and autonomy, and you want to take your life to the next level, I want to help you do that. Every month, I take on 3 new mindset coaching clients for whom I create bespoke coaching programs and take them to their greatest success in their career, in their fitness, and of course, wider life too. It's application and invitation only, and I select only those who are ready to commit 100%. To apply for your space, head to my Instagram and shoot me the word interested. And then you get to the time is running out, kind of the 29th birthday thing. I think I had the same thing. Actually, like around the same time where I was just like, fuck, like life is aggressively running out and I'm only going to get a few swings at this and I need to like kind of make this moment count. And it's like the words I used for myself was like, it's time to stop fucking around and commit to a path and try and make it really count. And like, sometimes you have to use that time is running out mentality to do that.
Yeah, I think you just mentioned like committing to a path, and that actually was something that scared me, because one of my pet peeves is to actually live a life according to just what the society is telling you to do. So, for example, like back home, all my friends that I love dearly are kind of going through the same system of, get a job, get a mortgage, get a dog, and it's like get married and then what else? And I've always felt like this wasn't me. Like it's not something I would like to do. Then it has scared me a lot to like actually commit to a path because of being scared of making a mistake.
Absolutely. And if you think about where you have come from belief system wise, it's all about like, can I gather more? Can I gain more? Can I do everything? But the requirement to walk a path is you've got to reject every other path, and you have to sacrifice so much potential in order to achieve one thing and maybe achieve one thing. And so it feels like in order to do that, it's not even feels like in order to do that, you have to ensure that the path itself is meaningful enough, regardless of the destination. And then you're on that whole cliche of like, make the process count.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's, you said when you were considering working with me, it was like this, is this concept of like, there's untapped potential. Like I've got more to give. What did you feel like you were working against at that time?
I think I was kind of working against my fears. It was almost coming out of like, the fear was creating paralysis around me taking actions. And so that's why I felt like I had so much more to give, but I wasn't taking the actions that I needed to do. Like it's almost like I knew what to do, but I wasn't doing it, which was creating a lot of frustration, because I was like, you exactly know what, just do it. Just like, stop like finding excuses or just do it.
What problems was that creating in terms of the real world success and the inner world? You mentioned like frustration. What was that doing to, or what was that kind of, the exact experience that you described? What was that creating in terms of real world problems?
I think it was creating an identity of someone who isn't taking actions, and someone who is actually, I was just feeling like a failure because I wasn't taking the actions that I needed to take. So I guess that was like not the right identity, or at least not fitting into the person I want to become.
Yeah. And then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you believe you're the type of person who doesn't take action, then you don't take action, you take even less action, so you get even less done, and then you kind of keep at that plateau for however long.
Yeah.
When did that really start to change, that image that you had of yourself, and were there any kind of big realizations you had along the way?
I'd say essentially after my trip to Bali, so I went to Bali for 3 weeks in February. So basically 3 months into the coaching was kind of when I've really decided to take action to actually do things and create momentum. Yeah, 3 months
I can
in.
still remember that call. I was pacing around. Yeah, I was pacing around this room, headphones in, kind of wandering around, chatting to you, and I could hear the ocean and the waves in the background, and it's sounded like paradise. But we had I think it was a big discussion around, again, values, and okay, who do you want to be with this, and what's important in terms of the way you live your life, and that seems like, when I think back across the 9 months or so, that's one of those standout moments of oh, that was a big conversation.
Yeah, I feel like that was a big one as well. And I don't know why, Bali was kind of meaningful to me because that's where I was back in 2019 when I started this mentorship with the SCA, Jensen Ori. And so it was kind of a meaning behind this is where I was in 2019. This is where I am in 2023, 4 years later. So that was kind of cool to look back and actually realize, what I've done in the last 4 years and how much I've grown.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember another element to that conversation that we had around okay, we need to let the old version of you die now. We're in this, you'd seen how much you've grown, and it's you're still getting pulled back to that old mentality. So to take those steps forwards, that was a massive step from you there. And that was a huge win that you had there. Looking to to segue quite nicely, how does that rank in terms of the wins that you've had along the way? And can you tell us about some more wins that you've had?
So acknowledging what I'm doing well was already a big win. Because actually giving myself credit is not something I'm good at. I'm very hard on myself. Always try to just very hard on myself. Don't really take time to actually give myself a pat on the back for what I'm doing well. So that was a big one. Overall sense of gratitude around for what I have in life and the life that I'm living. That's another big one. Kind of letting go of that the grass is greener somewhere mindset. Even though from time to time it's coming back, but it's just another one was the emotional up and down. So I had massive highs, and then I was just crashing down completely for 2-3 days. And then I was you're not meant to be crashing down. You're meant to have always energy, looking at others, doing others were full of energy, taking action. So I was I tend to compare myself to these people that I hire, big operators in the field. So yeah, just managing the ups and downs, I think, was a big one from a physical and emotional standpoint. And as a freelance personal trainer, my emotions were very tied to the business as well. So when I was losing a client, I was pretty annoyed, a bit panicked, a bit stressed. And same when I was signing up two new clients, let's say, I was on top of the world. And I think now I'm trying to distance myself a little bit from that. And, whenever I lose a client, I just tell myself that's okay. you've lost clients in the past, you're still there, so you're gonna pick up new ones. So it's that belief in me that is a bit more, I guess, that belief and that distance with the situation.
Love it. Yeah, the huge, that's been so much journey or so much growth encapsulated in just a few words. If you were gonna give the audience like one or two tools to really help their growth, some insights from our time working together, what would you recommend they do?
I would say, well, reach out to you first. And
that wasn't like an open goal ready to, I appreciate it, man. But
no, I'd say like, try to journal and learn to know yourself. It sounds silly, but the amount of time I just grab a pen and paper and start journaling, or like try to clear my mind, or trying to understand why I'm experiencing that or going through this, or trying to figure things out. So I think it starts with like awareness, and then it goes into like intentions and actions. So with awareness, it's great. Like, you can have the awareness, but if you have no intentions and not taking actions, you're actually not moving the needle forward. So yeah, awareness, intentions, actions.
Nice. I think, and you had this incredible ability to really self-reflect, and like you're a very reflective person, which is one of the reasons that you've done very well. But that kind of comes with it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because you end up kind of reflecting
too much,
and then you have to take the action. So it's like, it's the combination of those two things that you've done, like that. I'd say in terms of how you've grown, that's had the biggest real world effect of like how you've moved forward. It's like balancing that there's the brand name,
the plug,
deliberate action. Yeah, there's the plug. There's the deliberate action combined with the reflection. Those two things have massively moved you forwards. So yeah, I have to say massive congratulations to you, because as much as I'd like to take all of the credit, I can't, because you've done basically all of the work.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. I think exactly, like when I came to you, I think I was fairly aware already. Like I was like a fairly aware individual, but I was struggling around the intention and action part. And when if we talk about your coaching style, like for example, sometimes the good thing, and I think you'll let us do the work. So like you're asking questions, and then it's like up to us to figure things out by journaling and coming up with our own answers. As much as sometimes I would like you to tell me what to do, it's it's almost like it's a good thing, but sometimes it leaves me frustrated, because I'm like, oh, come on. But like, you ask the questions, and it's like through journaling we come up with the answers for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, there's like part of it is, well, actually all of it is that I want you to do the work. I want you to grow, because what I think means fuck all.
Yeah.
Because like I'm me living my life over here without your exact knowledge of the future and everything that's got into you, and whatever's going through your mind and what's best for you. I can guess what's best for you, but I can't tell you what's best for you. And it's your journey and your life. So this is about empowering you for the future. And if we can kind of hone in on how to think and also relieve you of your own bullshit that you tell yourself along the way, then that's absolute success to me. And you're a testament to the process, because you have that reflective ability as well that you've definitely trained too. But yeah, I think that's the key there. It's like, I'd love to tell you the answers. I'd love to be all about me. My ego would love that, but it's not. It's you that's on the work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
So, man, like to wrap up, where can people find you, and where can people follow you? And also, like, if they are you're around the Finchley area, right? So if you're in the Finchley area and looking for some elite coaching, where do people find you?
I guess the main place is probably Instagram, Coach_Louis_Pap. That's kind of where I post my, I guess, daily tribulations and, daily training tips and workouts. And then if you're in the Finchley area, or, if you're in London or anywhere in the world, really, even online, and you want some kind of training, that's where to find me.
Good man. And to give you one last bit of praise, like it's rare that I give you too much praise, but I think it's now or never. To come from moving towards having little grasp of English to being able to articulate yourself so well and so precisely in what half an hour conversation is a huge testament to your ability to grow. So massive congrats on that, dude.
Thank you. I think that's another win as well that I could add is I remember saying to you a few months ago, I feel like my English is not good enough. And I had this belief that this story that I made, that my English wasn't good enough and therefore people wouldn't listen to me, whether it's on a podcast or, when I show up on my stories, which is bullshit. And now I can tell it, but yeah, that was one of them as well.
Beautiful, man.
So thank you for
still
thank
kept
you for that.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. My absolute pleasure. You've managed to keep your endearing French accent as well, which is fantastic, because that just that's the peak of my weekend to listen to you.
Yeah, it's like a weird French accent though. Like you've got a mix of Australian, British, French.
You got the Aussie twang.
Exactly.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, Tom. Cheers.